Gentlemen, we've been at this a very long time. Sometimes we break stories. Sometimes stories are broken by sources far better than us. And then we just analyze them. And who would have thought it would have been a little Bambino in Mexico who would have broken this story? And that, as we turn our attention to the Canadian Premier League, I'm talking about two possibly new signings. I mean, Ollie Bassett, we know, is with Atletico Ottawa. They're out in Mexico right now for preseason training. That's Manny Aparicio. That's Amir Didic. So they're spotted wearing Atletico gear in Mexico with the team. I don't know if you want to comment on just like that, but here we go. It was also announced on Monday that Jonathan Grant has suffered an injury that'll keep him out, for the entire season. So when it comes to cap space money, it looks like they will have the ability to make these types of big moves. And here's the thing. I mean, this is like a CPL super team being put together. Ollie, how are you feeling about this?
I mean, on paper, it looks great. Like, even without Aparicio and Didic, being confirmed right now, and there's been some speculation and some reporting around Didic potentially still wanting to go to Europe. But even without those two players, I think the squad looks incredibly strong with the players they've added. With Bassett still there, with Balou Tabla there, Debrienne coming in, Swadek, Sissoko, Zapater's back. Luke Singh is reportedly returning on loan as well. This is a team that looks dramatically different to last season. So I think on paper right now, if they add Manny Aparicio and Amir Didic, it's at the back where they're still a little bit light with Wimet retiring. They look as good as anyone in the Canadian Premier League, I think, in terms of the quality of their personnel. Now that team's got to come together, we'll see what kind of ideas Carlos Gonzalez has in terms of gelling them all together and fitting all those players in the same team. But on a talent level, this is a team that should be right back where Atletico Ottawa was in 2022, I think.
These are two big names, as we know. Jordo, how are you feeling if they join an Atletico Ottawa side that, it was tough last year, but still pretty much have some solid pieces from the team that won the regular season a couple years back?
Well, yeah, Carlos Gonzalez understands, Atletico Ottawa coach, that you can't have a season the way that they had last year. And going to the last 5 games and not being able to score or put away teams was dreadful. So I guess having Balou Tabla back and having a Bassett that's in form, he's still staying, and speaking to him closely, he's a guy that was always maybe looking for a move, but he's still grateful and ready to come back and have a good season. But I kind of feel like Andy Patrol, this might be too many cooks might spoil the broth. Way too many. There's a lot of the same
big personalities, you think, or
no? I don't think. I'm not even gonna go with the big personalities. I think the players that are coming into Atletico Ottawa or potentially coming in, I think they're standout players, and I think they're great in a locker room and great to have on a team. I just think they're all similar. Like, I just want to, if you put out a team, let's just talk about the midfield with Zapater, Sissoko. I already have our issue, okay? If you're going to look at a Bassett or Aparicio, who's playing the 10 and who's willing to go on the wing? Are we going to play with 6 midfielders and 1 striker? Is this what's going to happen? And just play.
So you don't like options? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, it's not options. Like options. No. I'm saying all these guys could be starters in the league. And then you look, Sissoko for me should be a starter in this league. He's a very talented player. How do you balance this midfield, or how do you balance the talent on this team? Are certain guys going to be on the bench? It's a weird world seeing an Ollie Bassett come off the bench or a Manny Aparicio come off the bench. I just don't know if I could see all these guys or sacrificing. Basically, what I'm also saying is if this game was played with 2 or 3 balls, I'm like, cool. But this is 1 ball. A lot of these guys like to get the little tiki-taka, and there might not be a lot of tiki-taka going on, because there's just so many players that play the same way. So
good problems to have.
Very interesting. I mean, that's what people say, but I've played on teams like this, and it's like, I need to get the ball more. You should get it here. I'm usually getting the ball there. And it's like, sometimes it doesn't really work. I hope it does, but I just have to throw it out there.
You need an alpha manager for sure to manage all that, no doubt. And speaking of an alpha manager, I mean, Bobby Smirnionis has gotten the job done for so many years that's the measuring stick for teams in the CPL. I don't know, Wheels, like based on these, potential signings, again, hasn't been announced with Aparicio and Didic, but who they already have. I mean, can Ottawa truly challenge Forge then if this is all coming to fruition?
I'm waiting for that little kid to confirm it. Do you think he actually knew who they were? He's like, I'm posing with some players. He didn't know that we'd be talking about this on One Soccer today.
Who found that photo anyway? Like that is some sleuthing. Major
How do you
sleuthing.
find this guy? Like, who is going on? Someone must have whatever,
Love
put in
it.
an Insta story. I don't know. That is very sketch. I would love to know the story there. First off, congratulations to Atletico Ottawa. I mean, they knew that they wanted to come back with vengeance after the disappointment of not making the playoffs last year. Their own fan base was turning on them, even though they were coming out in record numbers. There was panic. There was Nate Ingham calling everyone out. And what do? They have like the biggest off season in the Canadian Premier League's history. It's wild what they're putting together. So congratulations on that front. Like Jordan says, are there too many cooks in the kitchen? Like, this isn't FIFA. This isn't a video game. And oftentimes we just think about bringing all these great players together. These pieces are going to come together. They're just going to run the show here. They've lost some important players as well, including Carl we met at the back, their best defender from last season. It sounds like Luke Singh might be making his way back to the nation's capital, but that back line, there needs to be room for improvement. Competition for places is a good thing for when younger players are challenging established players. But right now, you have players at every position who play the same position who are going to be competing with one another in a sport full of ego. I don't care if you're in Canada or Uzbekistan or England or anywhere. There's ego involved in the sport. Are players willing to play less or do less in order for the greater good? We will see. And if we're going to be honest about the biggest thing that you asked about whether they're going to be top of the pile in the Canadian Premier League, good luck dethroning Forge and Cavalry. For me, kind of look like a super club already. They've had an outstanding offseason. They brought back like their two best players from last season. They basically brought back their best 11 from last season, and that was a team that ran the regular season as well. So best of luck to them. It's going to be intriguing. This is great for the Canadian Premier League. And finally, Andy Petrillo, can Carlos Gonzalez play with all these attacking-minded players? Like, ooh. I've used the B word when I've talked about Atletico Ottawa before. Last year, when they needed a win and they went to York, it was abject. It wasn't brave. It was bad. Is he going to be able to unleash the beast and actually play an attacking brand football with so many attack-minded players? It's going to be a challenge for Gonzalez. He is a one-time Canadian Premier League Manager of the Year, but he has work to do because is he the right man to get the most out of this group? We shall see. Bring it on.
Never in my life have I brought up the possibility of a team signing like Manny Aparicio, Amir Didic, and everyone's like, I don't know.
I'm not on board with this, Andy. There's plenty of room in this team for all of them. I think it's like Carlos Gonzalez. You can't criticize him for not getting the best out of his attacking players. Like Bassett was the player of the year. Tabla was right up there in that.
Where'd they finish last year?
Last year he didn't have the players. Like aside from Bassett, who had another great year, who else was really a top class attacking player in that team? Salter had a decent season. He improved on his goal total from the Halifax season. I just don't think their attacking pieces were good enough last year. Now you look at the cast they're assembling now. We haven't even mentioned Kevin Dos Santos, one of York's best attacking players last season. Like I think he's going to have so many.
Who's
weapons.
playing through the middle? Who's playing at the 9?
At the 9, you can play Salter there. You could play Tabla there. Whoever you want, to be honest.
Whoever you want.
El Campo.
Whoever you want.
Listen.
Look, I think I agree with you, Ollie, though, in terms of more options in the attacking front. But that wasn't really the issue. As I said, it's all the players, and no one can have an answer for me. Maybe Carlos Gonzalez, I want to call him up, and maybe he can give me an answer. Who are you willing to sacrifice to not do the things that they like to do? Manny Aparicio, the reason why he's so hard to play against, I've played against him, is because he doesn't follow the rules. He says, I'm going to get the ball wherever I want. I'm going to pick it up from center backs. I'm going to run in deep between the other team's center backs. He's going to do what he wants. If you're going to play and win for Atletico Ottawa, Carlos Gonzalez, he's a manager of structure. Yeah, you're going to need some difference makers, and I think Balou Tabla is that guy. But I think it's just going to take some time to get all of these players, all these Mavericks, on the same page and having to be a choir and singing on the same tune, where a lot of them are lead singers. They string that guitar and they want to slide on their knees and play. But now you got to get them all to be a band. And I just don't know if that's going to be quick. But call me a skeptic. I hope I'm wrong. I don't see it happening as effortless as most people
We'll see.
do.
And look, like with this team, I kind of feel like the pressure got to them down the stretch last year. They choked. They did. They choked down the stretch last season. Now all the pressure is going to be on them this year. How are they going to be able to handle this? I cannot wait. This is going to be great. I think that Ottawa, with the dinosaur in their crowd, they're going to be one of the villains to challenge Forge in the Canadian Premier League. I love the attempt to build a super team. Congratulations to them, and let's see how it plays out.
All I know is you guys just made me really excited for April 13th, the opening weekend of the Canadian Premier League.